The Sadducees were the wealthiest and most powerful, pro-Hellenistic sect of Judaism. And I think this is the key part. They were very well connected to the Roman Empire. And so the Sadducees were very well positioned. They were well connected, much more connected, relatively speaking, to the Pharisees. So the Sadducees were the wealthiest, and they were the most powerful pro-Hellenistic sect of Judaism. So they took a very status quo approach to Rome's subjugation of Israel. And that was, of course, popular with who? That would be popular with the Roman government. So the Roman government pretty much laid off the Sadducees, and they had a lot of power and a lot of wealth, and they were among the upper crust, and we would call them the elites in the time of Jesus' birth, life, and death, and resurrection, which we can't forget to leave that last statement on, because many people believe that Jesus was born. Many people believe that Jesus died, but not everyone believes that Jesus was raised from the dead and actually ascended back to heaven. And the reason why this is important is because according to the Gospels and according to the book of Acts and throughout the New Testament, that it is an embracing of that idea that Christ not only was born, right? He was not only born in a manger. Also, he lived a life that led to a brutal death, ultimately a resurrection from the dead, and then further an ascension to the Father in heaven. So this is the core of Christianity. This is what the Bible teaches about Jesus. And I would say that there are many people sitting darkening church pews today who don't necessarily believe what I just said. They wouldn't necessarily believe all of that. They may assent to it, but if you actually ask them if they really believed those stories, and if they really believed that that actually happened, you'll find that many people today have become extremely jaded. They have become and I think it's because of the increase in knowledge, the vast increase in knowledge that is accelerating at, unbelievable multiples every year. And this explosion of knowledge in some ways is working against us in simply understanding the peaceful and calm, simple nature of what Jesus was trying to deliver. He said, you must have a childlike faith, right? He comes to the weak. He comes to the meek. He comes to the poor. He comes to the broken down, the trodden down. These people who are not finding much hope in this life. If you find a tremendous amount of hope in this life alone, then it's possible that you have not fully comprehended what Jesus is saying in the New Testament. That in the New Testament, Jesus is saying something so transcendent to our physical state that it's impossible without him intervening, without him actually doing the work through us. That's why the great mystery that is revealed, according to Paul, is Christ in you, the hope of glory, that he lives inside of you. And because of that, you now have hope. Now you have hope. But your hope does not exist outside of Christ. So back to the Sadducees in conclusion. The Sadducees were, again, a status quo establishment kind of group that held some different beliefs from the Pharisees. They, for example, did not believe in the resurrection of the dead as something that would occur later on in the future. And so there are other things that we know from history that they did not really concur with the Pharisees on. So the Sadducees and the Pharisees, two of the biggest groups, Sadducees certainly the wealthiest, but largely opposed, we must say, by the majority of the Jewish population at the time, because they opposed excessive foreign influence, and the Sadducees basically were viewed as the establishment. They were viewed as the status quo. And so things would never change with the Sadducees, right? They were happy with the things the way that they were. Well, that's not how most Jews felt at this time.